and welcome to Needing a Meeting. My name is Carol. I'll be your host today. How's everybody doing? Let me get in the chat here. Hey, Tara Smiling. How are you? So I was kind of hoping that we could continue from the topic that was introduced yesterday. And I can't paste anything if I haven't copied it, can I? I was going to send the link. Feel free to whomever will have a meeting with me. Yesterday's, I kind of have started kind of going back to where I started from, which was maybe introducing a topic that we could all kind of talk about and, and maybe not go into the weeds quite as much. We can go into the weeds, but maybe just not the whole meeting. Just a thought. Hey, Matrix Rabbit. Good to see you. Oh, my Lanta. So, how's everybody doing? Good to see you, Krista Melinda. Hey. So, yeah, I have a little blurb to read here from a blog post. And I can put it up. I forget I have that option. Here we goes. I thought I toggled you in. Did I not? Maybe it won't toggle while I've got this up. Let's try again. Hey, Jen Marie. Hey, Jen Marie.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
All copacetic. Well, yeah, close enough for government work.
Right on.
Can you say that again? What was it? What are you?
Hello, Nancy Bunch. Good to see you.
Oh, Krista Melinda. Yes. I love her. I love watching her shows.
Too. Right on. So yeah, I was hoping that maybe if we had some new people in that were coming in, we could kind of get their take on what we had started talking about yesterday. But
sure.
Anyway, how are you today, Crystal? Smiling.
Well, a certain problem at work just cooked his own goose today.
Oh.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. Because one of the things that I know for a fact is when something like this starts going, there's something called no retaliation.
Yes.
Yep. And yeah.
He retaliated and got caught.
Well, I will have to send another email, but this will be the email that literally states, I want an investigation. Because I heard him say to somebody when I was in the back room, something about the fact that Arun had talked to him and now he's only allowed in 2 places until he starts work.
Okay.
And he said which places, which were 2 of the places that Arun and I had talked about. He says, and that's how I started my morning. And then as I'm leaving the store, because I'm sitting there going, if he's told one person, how many others has he told? Obviously more, because when I was leaving work, 2 other associates were talking. And by what the one was saying to the other, they were talking about me and about this situation.
That's sort of breaking some sort of labor laws or something, isn't it?
Actually, it's called retaliation. which is not allowed when it comes to investigations like this.
Yeah.
So he just cooked his
Well,
own
'cause-
goose.
Surprised they
Can you
put him
prove
on
it?
when
Can you
you're
prove it?
there.
Can you prove that?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, because I know who he was talking to in the back room that I overheard. So they can actually talk to that person.
Right on.
Well, and now
So-
we know that Walmart follows everybody and everything. So no doubt it's been recorded.
Great.
I,
How are
I
you,
don't know if you were in Cosmic yesterday when I was talking about it. My store manager actually talked to him again on Friday. Because I talked to my store manager on Friday and I hadn't made myself clear to my store manager the first time I had talked to him. He thought I was meaning that this guy was just in his little layaway area, the area where we have fixtures and stuff now, that used to be where layaway was, that's next to the washrooms back there. He didn't realize that this guy was actually standing right beside the family washroom. So once I cleared that up with a picture and showing him exactly where on the picture that this guy stands, he's like, oh yeah, that is kind of creepy, isn't it? Like, yeah. So now he's cooked his own goose.
Right on.
So,
well, okay then. How are you, Rebecca? Oh, how are you, Cosmic?
I am good.
Good. Okay. How are you, Ben?
I don't know. He's the plumber.
I'm oh well, I was trying to think of some sign language to get Rebecca, but I'm doing okay. Been
The only sign language I know is unacceptable for due to community standards.
I feel like I need to do something with this, and it's like a red to a bowl, you know. I got to do something with this, but there's nothing I can think of.
Tara was here, then she wasn't.
I'm
Hello, Gypsy Daisy. Yes, go ahead, please.
to answer your question. I am okay. I'm massively fatigued. Was yesterday too, but so I ended work early, and my mom and my sister were here today, and little depression brain. It was okay. The great news is my mom didn't preach to me.
Wow.
Usually there's something about, the end of times. I'm looking, I can't wait for the end of this system of things and when God is going to make it all better. And it's always, So I'm really fatigued. And depression brain a little bit, which is why I needed to just be with community.
Right on. Hello, Tony B.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had one of those as well.
I started introducing topics again. I did that when I first started the meetings, and in that way it kind of keeps us focused on something and gives everyone has different perspectives on different things. And the topic, I if I can keep it going for a few days, I'd like to. The topic is, what do we do when we've lost our faith? Whether that's faith in a belief, faith in a person, faith in humanity, faith in ourselves, whatever it may be, and how do we come back from it? Are we in the process of that? Did you hear any of that, Tara?
I heard the topic. You want to keep going for a couple of days, and it's what to do if we lost our faith.
Right. Whether that be in ourselves, in another human being, or in humanity in general, or a belief, whatever that looks like. And because I guess that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now. After realizing that I was recovering from a broken spirit, and I am recovering. I feel it,
Mm.
you know. The whole thing is, how do I come back to a connection to something that I've always kind of had, which is a faith,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and maybe even not even having to have it defined, but it was massively messed with, I guess is
Mm.
the only way that I know how to say it.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's gone. I don't think it is, but have you run into,
When you're talking about,
am I talking about?
no, I was going to say, is like religion or like in yourself? Because
In
I wasn't here
anything,
yesterday.
whatever you have faith in, and
So
if it gets challenged.
my faith
Yeah.
in myself is probably the hardest thing. That faith that I can do what I need to do, or take care of myself, or meet my needs, or, be able to retire ever, all of those things. Those things I do have and have never lost, but I've struggled a lot with them. Because
Yes.
there's some messages I still have as a kid that still run through my head.
Yeah.
Faith, spiritually, like religion, I have lost a lot of, but I tend toward kind of Buddhist beliefs. You get what you
Mhm.
give in this world, and
Yeah.
that kind of, and my friends have called it the
Mm.
atheist of religions, but I do
Mm.
think you get what you give in this world. I've had some really amazing people be great to me, and so I am trying to kind of pay it forward and pass that good on to other people and make a difference for someone else, and that hopefully then they will make a difference for, another person. So if I suppose I haven't completely lost my faith in humanity, but I think that most people are basically good, but I think there's an awful lot of bad ones that are really loud.
Mm.
I said exactly that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. Right on. How about you, Tara?
So do you,
Um, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Cosmic's thought. So
Oh,
when
oh, you weren't finished,
yeah, it's
Cosmic.
okay.
I'm sorry.
we're on the
It's
same
okay.
wave, Carol.
Sorry.
You go, Tara.
Well, when faith is lost, I think it's an indicator that there's something in there, because I don't think that we would notice. I don't think we would notice that we don't have faith if there wasn't a little bit of something in there, So, and I think, I know I don't mean to trigger anybody here, but I was raised in a very biblical sort of home. So it's like
Yeah.
the foundation of the way I view things sometimes goes to Bible stories and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Hi,
trying to
Becky.
push that on anybody, because I don't even know what I think these days about religion and all of that, but
Sure.
the story of the mustard seed comes to mind, and I love that story of how we need only enough faith the size of a mustard seed to get us through. And I think for me it's much easier to have faith when everything is going well, but in those times that things are challenging, or I can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, that is when it's the most challenging,
Yeah.
but I think it's also the most important. And if I'm saying I feel like I have no faith, I really do think that it's because there's something in us that does believe that something can change. It's just
Mm.
maybe we're focused, or for me, when I get hyper focused on problems, I can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
So for me, meditation is a really good place to start when I just don't even know what to do next. I can't even conceptualize smiling or feeling any kind of joy. And after I sit and meditate, for me, my practice is 15 minutes daily. best to do it in the morning for me before things get too rough. And after I do that, I notice it kind of sets the tone for my day, especially if I end on a positive note, like focusing on gratitude or focusing on joy at the end of my meditation after I've cleared out sort of the cobwebs. And then it becomes easier for me to then focus on things that I want to focus on rather than feelings of lack.
Yeah.
I would like to know whether people who are raised in completely atheist homes have faith, because I think sometimes it's instilled in us as children. You know, like I'm talking about religious faith, because you know, I had to go to Sunday school, I was baptized, all that sort of stuff. So my faith was pushed on me. I was made to have faith because that was a situation that I grew up in, until I started questioning when I could read when I was 7. So it's just, I wonder how much of faith is actually created by humans, because it's something that we need something to have greater power over us, because we don't seem to be able to keep up with our own morals. You know, so we need someone up there to punish us when we do the wrong thing, because that seems to be something that goes on, except for Buddhism. I don't know if Buddhism has punishment, other than they have to keep going over and over again. They don't reach enlightenment.
I think they believe in reincarnation, that you come back if you didn't learn your lesson and do it right the first time. You keep coming back to try to learn.
This is their version of punishment is a Groundhog Day for eternity. Groundhog life. But it's just like every same. Sorry, you go, Ben.
I was just going to say, there is a really big doctor. I wish I could remember his name. He's, one of these people with, like, I think millions of followers. Maybe I'm wrong. He's up there on YouTube, and he was talking about, what was I listening to him about? Depression. And he was saying that actually that one stage of depression is you tend to focus on how bad you have it. You tend to be kind of me focused. And he says that's an example of where ketamine, because it's a little bit of a it's not like a full-blown dissociative where you go off and you turn into different people, but it kind of helps get your mind off of it sometimes. And he was saying that there's a bit of optimism that we need, because if we approach life purely logical, we will boom right down into depression. And I thought, and I was thinking that's really an interesting point, but it's true that we have a built-in optimism. That's why I'm not advocating going out and playing the lottery, but everybody knows deep down your chances of winning the lottery are one.
The more likely to get hit by lightning.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a fact.
My chances of winning the lottery because I didn't buy a ticket aren't that much lower than people who've gone out and bought hundreds of tickets. Really, I mean, it's about that level. But that people still have that built-in hope. And that's a bad example, is a lottery, but people
you
still
can have hope without faith.
Yeah.
You don't need to have faith to have hope. And I guess that's my point. I feel like in some cases, just say those who believe in Scientology, use that as an example. If once they get to the 3rd level, they then start having to believe in these thetans. They have to, otherwise they're going against their religion. So that's them being forced into a faith that they didn't even know that they had to have until after they reach a certain level. And that's kind of how it is in all religions. Like you get taught certain things when you're a child. You get the child version of the Bible. Still a bit weird, but sanitized. And then you move on to other stuff where you learn about, the First Testament, where some father or some daughters are sleeping with their father. And then I was like, oh, what? That's in the First Testament. And the first time I read that, I was very young. I'm like, a bit weird. Back in the day, fine. But when I finally became a parent and read it, I was like, what the hell? What age do they start letting kids read this? This is worse than Twilight. This is worse than anything. And it's just like, but if that book is what helps people to feel better, have at it.
I think
go
ahead.
I like to look at unicorns. I have faith that somewhere out there they exist.
Right
on this
on.
planet.
Love that.
It's just like, that's my version, you know.
When you were talking about atheism earlier, I think that's a form of faith. You have faith that there isn't a God, and that's what's true for you. That's your faith. You
I
know,
think that's a hardcore version. Yeah, most of them just don't even think about it. They're not walking around going, "Ugh, there is no God." They're just walking around.
But I mean, they have to
not
think about it
thinking about
some because they have to think about it enough to be able to define themselves as atheists.
Yeah, it's a good
Quite
point.
true, but that's because we're asked. We're asked to define ourselves. Do you believe in
Right.
God? Yes or no? And if they say no, you're an atheist. There is no. You can say you're agnostic, but it's a yes/no question generally. But for most people, it isn't. I don't know, because who knows? Show me someone who knows for sure there is a God, and I'll show you a liar, because nobody knows for sure.
That brings us to what Chris Melinda's saying, which is brilliant here. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. Certainty is the opposite of faith. I love that.
Yes.
And I want to read some of these others. Zelda Z says, I think we all, huh?
There was one under it, she said, as well.
I didn't see it to pin it unless it's this one. Zelda Z, I think we all have faith in something, whether religion or nature or ourselves. And Matrix Rabbit says it's a shift in perspective. Zelda Z, I think I lost mine. Meditating, Daphne says, is really helpful. That's something I need to get back into daily. Meditating is awesome.
Meditating is awesome.
Shannon says. And Kristen Melinda says, I had a teacher, one who said that everyone has faith, even if they are not religious. I agree. Mm-hmm. I tend to agree. Yep. Getting in a car. Yeah. Using a road. Trusting other people will drive on the correct side of the road. That's faith. Agreed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Agreed.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Oh, Stephen Hassan. Okay. Stephen Hassan is the guy who came up with the BITE model: behavior control, information control, thought control, emotion control. It's one way. Robert J. Lifton came with another way to how you would, back in the 80s, how you would classify a cult. But there's all these different schools of thought on it. But one of the things that he wrote in BITE model was not all religions are cults, not all cults are religions. Because you can have an atheist cult.
Yeah. Well, there was one. There's this doctor, and she was a lady who was in a political cult. Now she is a clinical psychologist who does stuff. She wasn't in a religious cult; it was politics. Left a very right.
Are you talking about what's her name?
I think you might know the one I'm talking about. She got short hair.
I think short hair. Yeah. I'll have to look it up because it's not a common name.
It's kind of fluffy hair. Yeah.
Yeah,
very fluffy, short hair.
Yeah,
kind of salt and peppery.
I was watching her the other day.
Yeah, we did watch her hair. Yeah, we have watched her hair, and I love her perspective, especially on what a cult is and how to recover from one.
Cults aren't just religious; they're not just. Right. That was really interesting to me. Because I thought even if it was a political cult, there was some religious aspect in there somewhere.
At any given time, there's 5,000 cults in the U.S.
There is an ideology to it. So there's that, you know.
I can answer one of your questions on atheists and what their kids do. And then I had a thought I want to make sure I share from what one of my users said today. But on the atheist part, my partner is atheist, as is his wife, and both of their children do not believe in God. That's not that they don't have faith in people or driving or some other stuff. There's a lot of things. They're some of the most considerate, really good human beings out there. So they've been taught a whole bunch of really big values. It's just not religious. So they believe in science, so you can kind of call that a faith of sorts, but they don't believe in organized religion. The other thing I wanted to share is And one of my users said this today, and I'm trying really hard to take it to heart. She said, instead of focusing on what you can't do now, focus on what you can do. And then bringing in the meditation portion to kind of look at what do I want to do of the things that, to get maybe a little bit, to have a more positive, more optimistic outlook about life. Because I do think most people are basically good, and I love people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just looked up the definition of faith, and it's the complete trust or confidence or in someone or something. So I've never had faith. I don't have complete trust or confidence in anybody or anything.
Okay.
Carol, can I ask a question about? Can I ask a question about the topic and why you chose it?
Well, because it's something I'm struggling with, and I wanted to hear other people's thoughts on it.
Is there anything particular that, is it just in general and you want to leave it with the generality? That I totally understand if that's the case, but is there something in particular that comes to mind that?
I always felt like I had a connection to something, whether it be to humanity or to, some other higher power or source or whatever. But in the last 5 to 6, coming up on 6 years, not so much. I just kind of have felt like I've been kind of just muddling through the world, not able to connect with anything that I used to be able to connect to, and just as I didn't really realize when I was in the thickness of it, that I was dealing with a broken spirit. With that kind of came a loss of faith, and I don't know how to connect to some things that I used to be able to connect to. And maybe that's a good thing, but it doesn't feel good, So I'm just
maybe you're missing something that you had back then. Because I know that I'm missing something that I had, but I know that it wasn't good for me to have it. So there's it's a kind of a balancing act. So I'm missing something that gave me joy, like in some way, or happiness, but it also was terrible. So I miss the joy and the happiness part, but I don't miss the terrible part. But it's still hard because I'm missing something, but I can't have it because I know that it's not good for me.
Wow.
So there's that. So you had that situation with your cult, and there was something good out of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been there in the first place. You did get something. So I feel like you're missing that goodness. You're missing the good stuff that you got from it, not so much the stuff that wasn't good. And that's that's perfectly natural. Like, just say we were in a terrible relationship. We didn't get into it because it was terrible. We got into it because it was good. And so when we get out of that relationship, regardless of how it ends, we miss the part that was good.
That's true.
So we might not miss a person, but we miss the part that was good. And I think when you leave a situation like that, because I had the same thing, when I left my little situation, cult, whatever, I missed the niceness of the community, like, going into church and being welcomed by people who knew nothing about me. And just, it was nice, and it was only after being there a little while that I kind of learned about stuff, but I still miss that walking into somewhere and feeling accepted by everyone, because I'd never had that before.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what you feel you're missing. So is it maybe another kind of community you're missing, or what do you feel is not there?
Maybe so. I mean, when I joined the cult, I thought I had found my tribe, but as time went on, it began to be apparent that I maybe had not, and then I kind of floundered for a few years after leaving the cult, but I still had a faith in something, maybe, I was kind of learning to make peace with not needing to have it defined as it was defined for me, and I had kind of reached a point of being okay with that, with having it not be defined, because I still felt like I could connect to something beyond myself. And I didn't, but then when my brother did what he did 5-6 years ago, it's 5.5 years ago, I couldn't connect to anything, not even music. And that was a shocker. Not even music. I couldn't sing it away. I couldn't dance it away. And I could always sing and dance away everything else until that happened.
How about now? Do you find it's lightened up somewhat?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I found the Scientology, the SPTV community, and, they could talk about their experience in a cult, but it wasn't the triggering language that I had come out of. And I was able to process a lot of my experience through that. And then, and then I found, and then I'd kind of been thinking that I needed to kind of work on recovery a little bit more, because I kind of feel like I sort of skipped that part. In some ways I didn't, because I was always working on myself, trying to improve myself, and, and I was always examining my heart, myself, but
do you think you're trying to live up to societal standards, where we have to have a faith, where you had to,
no,
there's certain roles we have to play in life?
No, it's never really been like that for me until I joined a cult.
Are you missing maybe some spiritual, like that direction, feeling like, and it doesn't need to be God, but are you missing kind of that belief maybe in a higher power or some specific area of that, do you think?
Maybe.
Is there anything wrong with defining yourself as searching?
Probably not. It's starting from a place
not religious.
It's starting from a place of a ground zero that's sub-zero compared to what I started with even as a little kid. There was a faith in something that got me through all those years of misery.
Is there any reason why you couldn't just try a few things out to see whether they fit?
I was kind of doing that like quite a bit before I found Christianity. And when I found Christianity, I'm like, Eureka, this is it. Which, even getting out of the cult, I was getting comfortable with maybe there is no Eureka, and there is no this is it. And that's and even finding a way to feel comfortable in my own skin with that, But then there was a big explosion in my inner world, and I don't know what to latch on to, I don't think.
Well, I will say that processing the cult stuff by watching and learning about others actually has been really helpful for me. So doing SPTV or watching documentaries on other cults that are out there, I found it helpful to kind of see what they had and maybe why certain things happened. And I don't know if some of that would help maybe process the cult stuff more if that's needed. But I didn't want to interrupt one of you guys.
I do like Chris and Melinda's bottom comment. You could start small. Number one, the ground is hard and will catch when I fall. I have faith in that. That's the thing is, I mean, we actually do have faith in quite a bit. Really, gravity is a great one. I mean, it's fairly basic, but.
And this is true, Tony. I want to acknowledge this from Tony B. Carol, you are connected to us. Use that feeling to connect to other people, communities, and your faith will grow. And I think I'm kind of on that path, and so yeah, I like that.
Do you journal?
I do.
Do you journal and or meditate?
I do not meditate because I just cannot keep my. I'm too big. It's too many squirrels.
Actually, just FYI, that's normal for when you start meditation. So you start out maybe just 5 minutes, and when you see yourself wander, you just kind of bring yourself back to whatever it happens to be. Yeah. Seriously, that is normal. That is very, very normal.
I've been meditating for 15 years or so, and my mind still wanders. That's just part of it, you know? Okay. I mean, like sometimes I have great sessions where I'm like super focused, but more often than not, my mind wanders. And that's part of the practice, is bringing it back to one focal point. So you're doing it right. You're not doing anything wrong if your mind wanders.
It's one of those innate things within me that if I'm not good at something immediately, I don't want anything to do with it.
I hear that. Well, one of the things I'll do occasionally meditating, it's like, okay, there's no harm in it. If you get that squirrel popping in your head, what caused that thought? What caused that? You start Socratic questioning all the way down to the end. Or sometimes even what a lot of monks do in Tibet. I don't remember. Somewhere in South America, I think, actually. But there's monks, what they'll do is and what they're doing is everybody thinks that's some god or something like that. And actually what they're doing is they're meditating and they're paying attention to the vibration in their chest, and you start closing your mouth, starts rising up, and then finally you can feel the vibration in your head, and you just do that over and over again. You use that to concentrate on, then you start getting yourself in a meditative state. Then it's like, okay, now what am I thinking about? Why am I thinking it? What inner truth is this going to lead me to? And a lot of times, the sad fact is you won't find any inner truth. A squirrel is sometimes a squirrel. It's like, do like Chris Melinda was running down. Can you teach squirrels to synchronize swim? That's still an interesting question. I think it's cute nonetheless.
Yeah. They taught a whole bunch of squirrels for that movie. For Veruca Salt. What's that movie? Willy Wonka. Was it squirrels or was it chipmunks? They trained squirrels for that. Sorry, I'm just when they were carrying it down the hole. Anyway, it's fine.
To your point, Ben, about the monks and focusing on the Om vibration, I don't Om, I don't chant. For multiple reasons that I won't go into here, but I like to listen to a tone. I really like Tesla's tone. I listened to a bunch of different tones until I found one that I liked, just on Spotify for free. Or I'll put on, if it's loud, like if there's construction going on or something like that, or loud voices outside of my head, then I will put on like a waterfall or a stream or something like that, something nature oriented that helps me to focus. I'm essentially doing exactly what you're talking about that the monks do. I just my parents are actually not into chanting, and so I can't seem to get myself to get past that my parents don't approve of it. And so I'm like not gonna chant. Yeah, and I know it's kind of like, it's not really what I don't personally see any problem with chanting. I just don't want to I would just want to focus on what feels good to me and what I can accept. And so listening to tones or nature noises really helps me to focus on just that one thing.
Yeah, and that would have the same function. Singing bowls are also good at that because the pitch they come up with sometimes is really interesting, and it's not something we run into much in nature.
I was going to say focusing on breath is a great way to start, like focusing on breathing in and out. And you can just be breathing in and out of your nose, but kind of focusing on quieting the breath and breathing maybe a little bit slower and kind of slowing yourself down a little bit, calming yourself a little bit, and kind of focusing on that seems to kind of, it's a way to kind of get through. Maybe if you're starting with 5 minutes, it's a way to get through that and maybe not have your mind wander quite so much.
Yeah.
But
whatever works for you.
Yeah, it is natural. That's one of the mentalism tricks, or I don't know what you call it, trick, a little, I don't know what you would call it, but they'll oftentimes, some of them will say, breathe deep. You breathe deep. Now you feel that tingling in your foot. It might be in your right foot. It might be in your left foot. Now you feel it rising. And the thing is, there's nothing magical about that. Just when 90% of people, when they slow down and just breathe, oftentimes their feet will tingle. Some of them will say, now you breathe deep. Now just relax. Now you'll feel a itch in your back. It could be in your left. It could be in your right. People go, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's like, no, that's just natural. Your body's always itching and things like that. It's just you turn your mind off to ignore it. And
that's what I do when I go to sleep.
Wow.
I'm like, oh man, there's an itch on my back. If I move now, I'm not going to be as comfortable, so I'll just let it be. I'm like, I have to get it. The whole, me, I can't meditate. I just can't. My mind is not still. It's never been still. It's only still when I'm thinking about something. So something that's high focus, that I can't think about anything else. So at the moment, it's my Animal Crossing game. When I'm playing that, that's my meditation. All I'm doing is shaking trees, picking up fruit, and digging up fossils. And it's really relaxing and calm, and there's no fighting. Sometimes there's wasps and spiders. It is what it is. But it's just fun and relaxing. That's my version of meditation. And for some people, that's fine, because you can't. Some people just can't get it. And it's, for me, I spent months and months and months with my therapist trying to find a way that was effective meditation. Because I felt personally that because I can't meditate, like you said, Carol, I'm a failure because it means that I can't do what everybody else seems to be able to do easily.
Right.
And so I just can't. And my therapist, after months and months of working with it, she goes, you know what? Just do whatever it is that you can take your mind off whatever it is you don't want to think about for half an hour or so.
Right.
And that's fine. You don't, not being able to meditate or at the moment, because it's a skill you develop. It's not a problem. Just if you want to, just keep working at it. Because like anything, practice makes perfect. Well, practice makes almost perfect because nobody's perfect. Yeah. So that's just my little 2 cents about that. I just can't meditate, and my mind is, I don't have squirrels, I have elephants. Whole herds of elephants. So they're not walking around going, so yeah. I do have a funny cheese story. So my son, I bought a brand new block of cheese, like block cheese. So this is the way it would have gone, right? When you cut the cheese, you cut it this way, right? My son, psychopath, he cut it this way. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He just did some sign language at me. But yeah, he cut it this way.
He did.
Right? Yeah. I got so upset. I cried about the cheese because he cut it wrong. I'm crying about cheese. I had a full-on argument with my son about cheese and why on earth he thought that was an okay way to cut cheese. And I was full-on upset about it. I'm still upset about it. So it's just like, who does that? But more to the point, my reaction to it was so overblown that like even as I was reacting and telling him that I'm really upset at him cutting the cheese, I'm like, it can't be the cheese because no one can get this upset about cheese. And yeah, so that's just, it was a sign to show that I am upset about something, and I know what it is because he's leaving. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
But I just thought it was really funny. One, he's never going to live that down because everyone thinks it's psychopathic, I would hope. But it's just
there's no wrong way to cut the cheese. I'll just say it.
There is wrong way. There is. Because if
Wrong way?
Okay, this is my explanation. Okay, see, when you cut it this way, right, there's a lot of surface area to keep it flat, so you can cut it, you can regulate the cuts. When you cut it this way, there's not that much, and it bends.
Yes, but that's okay. It's okay. It's be different.
But see, that's
you were going to say something.
The fact that I can't get over it is there's something wrong. I'm going to be talking to my therapist about it. I mean, I've got like 20 days to see it. So I'm going to think about it for a lot. But the fact I got so upset was quite upsetting for me, if that makes sense. Because how can I get this upset about cheese? For days, I've been upset about it. And
wow.
Yeah, and it's just, right? And I don't think I get this upset about things that happen to me for this long. You know, like, I get over it in a couple of days, but I'm still mad, and it's been 3 days. So that was
wow.
A lot of people do find it easier to meditate with sound, even something as simple as something like that, where it's just a repetitive sound. There's nothing magical about it or anything, but you're just listening to the sound. It helps center your brain, where you have something that will help somewhat keep a lot of the squirrels. You just have something like that, and you concentrate on something else. But that's why a lot of people will use sounds. It's a very basic technique.
I love sounds.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
These cool they call them binaural or something. I can never say the word.
Yes, binaural.
And
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen those on YouTube.
Yeah. And these particular ones have, like, in the beginning, they have breathe. So you get the breathing in the right tone. I don't know, rhythm, I guess.
Yeah.
And I actually use them to help me sleep. They don't help me meditate, but they do relax me enough to help me sleep, because it's relaxing music and just sounds I like waves or thunder, and that's generally in the background as well. So I find that helps me sleep, but I'm not sure if about yes, Crystal, but so that helps me sleep. In fact, I have it on throughout my house all day, every day. Some sort of binaural music, because it keeps my heart in check, because music can influence your heart. So if you listen to fast music, it makes your heart go faster. If you listen to slow music, it helps your heart relax and be slower. So for me, because I have palpitations and all that sort of stuff whenever I get a little bit stressed, so I have this music on. It actually keeps my heart kind of even. I don't, because my watch has all these notifications when it goes over, like, resting heart rate. If it goes over a certain amount, it beeps, and it hasn't gone off as often since I've been playing this music.
And they found that they did it was actually government funded at one point, but it's one of those studies you hear about where they spend money on all sorts of things. But they actually did a test where people were exposed to the original theme to Hawaii 5-0. It's like 160 beats a minute. Da, 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 da. People listening to that rhythm would tend to drive much faster. They were speeding like crazy. So
they were.
It will have an effect.
Yeah.
Well, there's driving music, and it's like faster, and it makes you want to drive. And then you've got, like, relaxation music, and you just want to drive through the nice, slow rolling hills. And but it really doesn't have an effect on your music. I know I'm not okay when I can't listen to music or dance.
Okay.
I was going to say I have music thoughts too, but I want to give Tara a chance to share what you were thinking.
Yeah.
So, okay, so a couple things. I hope I can remember them both. So, Carol, and anybody, this goes for anybody. Carol, I don't know if you'd be interested, but a couple years ago, actually, right before I entered recovery, I recorded a guided meditation that I feel like it was the thing that changed my life. I went to Big Sur, where I took that photograph that sometimes I have behind me, and I recorded it was raining, so you can hear the rain and you can hear the waves of Big Sur crashing in the background. And I did a cover of a Louise Hay guided meditation, and I listened to that every day for a couple of weeks. And that's actually, I think, a big part of what catapulted me into recovery. So if you're interested in listening to that, it's actually on SoundCloud for free. And my name is Tara Smiling, if you're interested in listening to that. Okay. So that was the first thing I want to share. And the second thing, plus I'm considering, a lot of people have been asking me to record guided meditations. And I was like, whoa, I was doing this 3 years ago. So I might record more, and I would be happy to share them if it's something you're interested. I don't want to pressure you into doing or listening. Yeah. But it could be helpful. That's how I got started, was with guided meditations. Right. And so the other thing I wanted to share, number 2, was that this weekend I found myself massively triggered. I went on to, what is the name of her channel? She's a Ripple. Surviving Together. I went onto her live stream and watched her live stream that she did on the boat this weekend. And I didn't realize that I had so much trauma from my childhood that I hadn't faced, I hadn't thought of in so long. I had repressed it. And so in that moment, I really wanted to meditate, because that's how I deal with overwhelm and being triggered. And I thought to myself, I'm just going to write this stuff down. I'm going to talk to my therapist on Tuesday, which is today. I meet with her on Tuesday evenings. And but then I just thought, I can't actually handle this. I can't, this is too much. I'm too overwhelmed to even sit and meditate. And so I called my therapist, and we ended up doing an emergency session that lasted for 2 hours. She tried a new technique on me, which is like a variation of EMDR. It's called ART, A-R-T, Accelerated Resolution Therapy. And which is like a variation of EMDR. My point to all of this is not to tell you, oh my God, I got triggered this weekend. My point is that the tool for me of calling my therapist helped bring me back to a sort of neutral baseline. We processed a bunch of stuff this weekend, and now I'm able to meditate again. So the reason I share that is just because sometimes if I've got stuff that needs to be addressed, if I've got emotional stuff, like what happened this weekend, it prevents me from being present with myself. And so for me this weekend, and it looks different all the time as to what needs to be done, but for me, what I found helpful was connecting with my professional who helped me clear out some of the cobwebs.
Right on.
Is this your, let's see if I can play part of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say guided meditations are great. That's how I started as well. And if I'm feeling all tense, the meditation could just be 5 minutes, just kind of going through each area of the body, like your feet, your calves, your thighs, and kind of consciously relaxing them as a way. I also listen to, on the subject of the music, there is some ADHD focus music on YouTube. I'll play that while I'm at work sometimes. And then
does it help?
Yeah. Even before, I've got kids now, but I do listen to that, and it's just like a beat. It's just very, and it takes usually about 20 to 30 minutes for it to fully kick in, and by the 30 minutes, I'm off, and
Can you send me that, please?
Yeah, because it actually just Google ADHD focus music. And I think it's like Green Rod or Green something is one of them. It works awesome. The other thing I was going to say is I listen to either rain or because I don't do Spotify, I do Pandora. There's a sleep music, and often it'll be waves, or it'll be like raindrops, or it'll be really mellow classical music. I put that on low, and that helps my brain shut down at night so that I can fall asleep. So I try to use music a lot to kind of help where I'm going, my mood. And if I'm really angry, then we listen to, that's when we listen to the metal music.
Yeah, Queensryche is great for that. Queensryche and classic Black Sabbath.
It's funny that metal music is so relaxing for me. I put it on, I'm like, it's like it releases the anger that I can't in some way because someone else is shouting, so I don't have to.
That's awesome. I'm glad that they have so many options that work for. You just have to kind of try it and see what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Melinda says about the cheese thing. Cosmic, it's not the cheese that's the issue. It's something related to the cheese that's the issue. It's just you have associated the two together.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it is. It's just I couldn't deal with the emotions.
Yeah.
Right
I was going to just say, I do recommend meditation as, even if it's short, and then going to journaling, and then just starting to kind of write. Because for some reason that, at least for me, that helps me slowly start to process stuff, and things will come up in that in a way that are different than if I don't do it that way. Yeah.
I think also the more clear my mind actually is, I also have diagnosed ADHD, so I totally understand the challenges that come along with that type of wiring. And I find that in terms of, trauma and depression, and it's like my treatment and the more my nurse practitioner hones in on the right chemical cocktail, which I know, Carol, you're working on, or have found the right chemical cocktail for you, the easier
ish.
Okay, so I find it to be easier to meditate now that my chemical cocktail is on point. And for me, Ben, you mentioned ketamine treatment earlier, and it's not something I talk about too much on other people's platforms, but I've talked about my experience almost ad nauseum on my channel. For me, bringing me out of that deep depression that I was in, I saw happen when I started that treatment. I was not okay before that treatment. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it was the ketamine that brought me out of that and enabled me to start meditating again. But I think it has played a critical key role. And if you when I think back to my earlier, and when I look back at my earlier, it's almost cringy to look back in the beginning, because I'm like, I was in such a different headspace. I felt so low and so hopeless. And I had a little bit of faith, but I didn't have a lot of it because I felt so bad all the time. But finding the right nurse practitioner who helped me get access to therapy, which I could not afford when I started when I first started meeting her. I couldn't afford the treatment, and she helped me navigate the system to find a way. And so I just wanted to share that because I have been given the gift of access to the right treatment for me, I think it's made a big difference in my ability to have faith again, for what it's worth.
Right on.
And it's funny, the people who are successful or the people who are happy with the treatment, I find they tend to be the same way. It's not the drugs doing it. It's the treatment that includes the drug, but it's also learning how to do this. This helps me focus, and then the rest of it is on me kind of thing.
It's holistic recovery.
Yes.
It's not just about medication or meditation or therapy. It's about all of it together.
100%.
When people I'll use some statistics from AA. So people who go to AA, something like 7 to 4% of them are successful without other treatments. There's a whole bunch more who are successful when they're getting, it's not just AA that they're doing or peer support or whatever. There's a whole bunch of other stuff they're doing. You can't just go to AA and think that's going to be it and don't need any other help, because there's obviously a reason why you're there in the first place. So when people go, you'll find that those who have a support system around them, or even, not just the peer support or AA or whatever, they need other things. And that's where
that's true.
Holistic healing.
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it. Yeah.
Holistic healing should be something that's, take the woo-woo out of it, because, everyone thinks it's a bit woo-woo. But it's not just about, it's about your mind, your body, your spirit, everything. And when you've got a broken spirit, everything else feels, what's the point? So it just we need to help people who have a broken spirit as well to realize that there's more out there to what they're going through right at this moment.
I found some no copyright Tibetan singing bowls.
Yeah, I have that on my my sleep playlist. Well, one of them anyway. Yeah.
Very calming. Of course, that won't work for everybody, but
right.
But yeah, stuff like
I
that.
also, to the Facebook group, I sent what's it called? Was it Vagus Nerve Reset music to help sleep? So it's meant to help reset your vagus nerve. Yeah, because you were talking about that, Carol, that you do exercises or something for that.
Yeah, I was for a little while. I've kind of slacked off, but I've also found some of the vagus nerve music things, and what's it hurt?
Right.
Well, I don't know if it works or not, but as long as it's making me feel calm.
I was going to say, Cosmic, I just posted in the chat one of an example of the ADHD focus music for you.
Thank you. That's actually the one that's up. I looked it up.
Perfect. They have a lot of different ones. I've listened to a lot of them. If it doesn't work for me, like one of them, I don't know. Sometimes I don't like one. I just choose a different one.
But I have noticed that some of these binaural things, they have a tone that will come through sometimes, which I only notice when I'm asleep. But it's like, doo. I'm like, what the hell was that? So I change it. But you do have to listen to some of them. They're not all. Not everyone likes everything. I mean, not everyone likes the Doors because they're crazy. So it is what it is.
I just so love how you call Awaken Ned.
Yeah,
she's okay with it. If she wasn't okay with, and she said she likes it. If she didn't like it, I wouldn't do it.
Right on. Well, I had something that I wouldn't mind reading if y'all are okay with it.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. It's a blog post from verywellmind.com, and it's Tiara Blair writing. It is a contributor to this Very Well blog. And at a glance, losing your faith can involve a loss of connection with things you believe in, whether it's your religion, your values, or humankind. It can be a devastating feeling that undermines your confidence, convictions, and well-being. No matter why it's happening, there are steps you can take to cope. Acknowledging your emotions, reconnecting with spirituality, practicing gratitude, finding social support may help. Let's take a closer look at why your faith may be floundering and what you can do about it. What is faith? First, let's get into what faith is exactly. The term faith is defined as a strong belief in something or someone, or a belief in the existence of God, strong religious beliefs or feelings, According to the Journal of the Society of Christian Philosophers, faith is having belief in something without an apparent reason. The Christian Bible determines faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Most people correlate faith with a trust or higher power. Faith means believing in the existence and presence of our higher powers in our lives, even though we cannot physically see them. And some steps that it had, then why faith is important. Having faith, whether it is a religious belief or in yourself, gives you a sense of confidence, belongingness, a conviction. Such faith can give you the resolve and strength to remain resilient in adversity. Research has also shown that having faith can possibly affect physical and mental health. Losing your faith can take a toll on your resilience and undermine your sense of belongingness. That's what I really identified with. But it can also be an opportunity to grow. And I love that. Build a stronger sense of awareness and cultivate new beliefs that are more closely aligned with your current values, goals, and beliefs. There are various reasons why one may begin to feel a loss of faith: stress, depression, loss, illness, uncertainty, trauma, betrayal. Yeah, trauma and betrayal kind of went hand in hand back in 2018 because it was the ultimate betrayal. Your own family member, coming at you with murder in his eyes, like you're not somebody who's fit to live. It's just the ultimate betrayal. Your own family, fear. And I lived in fear for a good 3-4 years until the sheriff came and told me that my brother was no longer alive. Only then did my fear dissipate somewhat. And what to do when you feel you're losing your faith: acknowledge and accept what you feel. Yep. Try meditation or prayer. Count your blessings. Talk it out. Spend time with loved ones. Consider counseling, which I've done. I've been through 8 counselors and I'm about to go on my 9th. Engage in acts of kindness.
Yeah, that one would be
Attend a
huge.
place. Take the time to reflect. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that this was a good article and relevant.
Carol,
what about if you've never had faith? Like, I don't think I've ever had it because I like I said before, I've never had complete and utter trust in anything or anybody, even myself. And that's because I've come from a place of trauma since birth, I think. So how do I get something that I've never had?
Good question. Do you feel a connectedness to anything or anyone?
I feel connected to the universe, the planet, but it's like, but I don't. Give me anything, and I can probably tell you give you how it could fail, or how it could let you down in some way, because that's how I have to think. Because that's been my life. Everyone I meet, I have to think. I always think everybody's good, but I also think, how's this person going to eventually hurt me?
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
And it's not because I'm negative or I don't have a massive amount of optimism. It's just because that's been the way the world is. So I'm going by patterns.
So that connectedness that you said that you were talking about feeling to the universe, do you feel like that could fail you too?
Well, I'm going to die. That's probably the only thing I do have faith in. So one day, I don't. But even then, I think my version of religious type faith, I think, is the universe. As above, so below. The universe is. We are walking, talking little universes who have our own little solar systems and our little planets that come in and little satellites that come and knock us off our course. That's how I feel. That we are the universe, like Carl Sagan made conscious. You can't even have faith in a star because you don't know when they're going to collapse or, so. it's just going by what life has shown me. Everything is going to fail eventually because it's a law of entropy.
Well, I mean, some people would say that we're made of star stuff. So even if that star explodes, those particles can become something else.
Exactly. That's one of the things that keeps me. That's why I'm so positive about stuff, because we're all stars. You know, we like
Right.
sure. I love the fact that Jesus died for us, apparently, but we exist because stars died. The only reason we exist is because a star exploded eons ago and created everything that exists in us. And I think that's amazing. Like, how can you not think
so
the world is
too.
a wondrous place and be full of optimism when we're walking, talking stars? So, I just think that's amazing, and that's what keeps me positive. Is that I think the universe is a magical place. I think humans are amazing and have created amazing things, but we're also a parasite. That's just, we are a parasite on the world. We're already destroying we haven't even been into space properly yet, and there's a whole bunch of rubbish up there.
Yeah.
This is what humans do. So, that's I think that's why I may not have faith, but I've got an endless amount of humor.
Agreed. You do. And that's a
Tara,
good
you
thing.
were ready to say something. Oh,
What's that?
you were getting ready to say something.
So I have a comment about what Cosmic just shared. She said, or you said, Cosmic, I'm talking about you like you're not here for Cosmic. You said, how am I supposed to have faith if I've never felt it before? And that really struck a chord with me. It made me think of I don't know what the piece of equipment is called, but that it's like a tuning tool that you put on a guitar.
Tuning fork.
A tuning fork. Yes. Okay. So I feel for me, that's what meditation does, is it helps me tune to a frequency or a feeling that I'm not necessarily tuned to already. It's like, okay, if I want the guitar to sound the way that it can sound so that I can read music and play music as according to what this piece of paper says, then I'm going to use a tuning fork, tune the guitar to match this frequency so then I can play the music that I want to play. Now, is it wrong to not use a tuning fork? No, it's not wrong. It's just you're not going to hit those same notes that other people can hit.
There's apps for that now.
Sure, right. And there's apps for meditation too. And so it made me think of like your point about not having felt it before. So how are you supposed to feel it? I think for me, what helps me get into different frequencies, like upon demand, is first clearing my mind and then choosing what I want to tune myself to. And that seems to work for me. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but I think it's possible to tune into any frequency that we want if we just put some intention to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like that.
My frequency, as much as possible, is positivity. But I've heard about toxic positivity, which I didn't realize was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. Yeah. So I'm now questioning whether or not my positivity is toxic.
Well,
I don't feel anything toxic from it. That helps.
I don't even know what it means.
Well, it would be. Have you ever seen the group Up with People?
No.
I've heard of it.
They were a little group of, everything's beautiful, everything's beautiful. And the thing is, when it's like, no, why are you frowning? Why are you so down? That is a great example, because the thing is, it's artificial, and it's telling you that if you're not happy, you're not on the same Scientology will do that too. You're on the tone scale. You have to be happy. That's why these people are, oh, we're smiling. And it's like their life is complete and utter crap. And you know that they are not up here on their little tone scale. They are down here. They're just plastering it over. You can see tons of examples of TV
So
preachers.
it's fake happiness.
Yeah, fake happiness. And it's happiness that's judging you
Mm-hmm.
for not being as happy. And,
Yeah.
if you were
Oh,
happy,
I see.
if you were living a good life, you would be happy too. And it's like, bite me. Just
Totally.
Actually, that was a lot of the New Age movement when I left, is because if you weren't having good enough thoughts, it was a secret actually that did it. The book, The Secret, and the movie. It's all about positive manifestation, and anything that's in your life that is negative is because you put it there, basically, because you thought it into reality. So, actually, Louise Hay. I used to be a Hay House person. She actually did a thing where I can't remember the name of the book, but every illness that you have is because of a thought that you have or something. So you can heal your life, I think it might have been. But that's a very basic way of putting it. But I also felt like that was a little bit mean, because there are people out there who have stuff that they have no control over.
Yeah.
And you can't positive thought your way into getting better, basically. Like if you've got, I can't positive thought my way out of autism or ADHD. So, some cancers are the same, I'm sure, being positive, when you're positive, you have a better prognosis. But you also have to be realistic.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a duality. We all have happy and very, very negative sides to us, shadow work type of thing. But, that's Dianetics is big on that stuff too. The science of mental health. All disease comes from your negative thoughts. You're not being positive enough. You can only channel, what's that guy's name? Short little dude.
Miscavige.
Top Gun.
David?
Well, not this Miscavige, but I was thinking of Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
With all of his
Oh,
favorite
Tom Cruise came to me in my dream.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Now I have to be a Scientologist.
Yeah.
God, if Tom Cruise came to me in my dream, I'd wake up. I'd go, nightmare.
I was going to say, I think there's a difference between positivity and optimism. So you can be, you could be optimistic and be hoping for something better and be kind of focusing on that, hopefully this will get better without being necessarily over the top positive about it.
Oh, sure.
Yes. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
I think optimism is a better word maybe than positivity. Because you can be positive and it can be a negative thing.
Yeah.
You got a doctor. I'm sorry, you're positive.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
I'm positive this sucks.
But optimism is a great one, I think. I think optimism is a great state to be in as well. Like, because when you're optimistic, you're at your optimum. I can't think of the word. Anyway, I like the word optimism.
I like that word too. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things has helped me is being in quiet and alone, like being alone, and when quiet's the wrong word, being alone without, maybe other people to talk to, having my journal, having a meditation, and that it seems to, when I do that, it allows me to see maybe a little bit more of what's inside. And so depending on what comes up, kind of tells me whether there's something else I need to work on, or it kind of helps you think about maybe what you believe. So I guess it's worked for me a lot. So I'm huge on the meditation and the journal portion of it. Mm-hmm. And I do like really nice, calm music to kind of. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do, Carol, as your next steps to try to get your faith back, or to figure out what you want to do?
I'm just going to keep plodding along like I have been because I feel like it's getting better. And I do feel like, this connection that we have every day has a part to play in that, but and I'm also going to go for an appointment Monday or Tuesday to have my little brain tested for the little attention problem that I have. And just see if it'll confirm what I've already known and, maybe get some workarounds.
Sure.
Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It can't hurt to find out.
Are you nervous? Are you nervous about it?
No, not really.
About the outcome?
No, because I feel like it'll probably be the answer that I have always suspected anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll help. I mean, there's no real strength in a diagnosis, but it helps give you, I know how to work around this. I know how to, there's resources for whatever. I know how I can work with this, how I can maybe not kill it, but yeah, battle it.
There are actually strengths in being diagnosed because just say if you wanted to work and all that sort of stuff or go to study, you actually get some sort of extra concessions because of your attention deficits. Like to say, I have a friend who's in university in Australia and she gets longer to do, tests and in a quiet space rather than having to do it with everyone. She still gets, monitored and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
to give her the best outcome, they help her in her situation. So they give her a quiet space away from people to do the test and longer because it takes longer for people with ADHD to process some things.
Yeah. I've already been diagnosed with a learning disability. I had that done through the community college, and they did the same thing with me. Gave me that extra time in the quieter place.
And also, for me, I was told that I was by everyone. Everyone knew before I did, which is great. So you could have told me earlier. But so I was walking around thinking that I'm perfectly normal and the world is strange.
Yeah.
And but now it's helped because I'm not questioning every thought that I have that's different to everybody because I know that my brain works differently. So that's why it's different. So I don't feel as strange as what I always did until I found out that I've got a different brain. That's why I think differently.
Right on. Yeah.
The testing did allow me to get the ADHD meds, and it's a ramp up drug, and so I can't tell really at this point. So I don't know if this is I've heard that's kind of the equivalent of speed. If this is speed, it's not doing it.
It's okay. So the stimulant drugs for ADHD, if you are ADHD, they don't work like speed.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I've heard. Yeah. So if this is the equivalent to speed to somebody else,
amphetamine,
not working for me.
Yeah. So I got given Duramine, which is the same sort of thing, but it's for a weight loss drug, and it's meant to give you more energy and all that sort of stuff and suppress your appetite. I went to sleep. As soon as I had half an hour or so after I had it, I just went to sleep, and that happened for days and days and days. Went back to the doctor, and he goes, "No, that's not what it's meant to do. You need to try it on something else." He didn't mention that it's probably because I'm ADHD. That's why it didn't work. But yeah, so those people who are going around taking Adderall, I've heard of Adderall. It's an American thing, but apparently people do it at universities and stuff like that. The ones who are taking it and they're staying up all night and all that sort of stuff, they're actually not ADHD. It probably does help them focus. But, it doesn't work the same. I guess like painkillers. Like if you're actually in pain, painkillers don't give you some sort of high. If you're not, they might. I don't know. But that's basically what it is.
The test might allow your doctors to prescribe you something that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. It's the only reason I was able to get the drug. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually had to change my kids' medication because my ex at the time was trying to take it and sell it on the streets. So I got the kids changed to one that couldn't be booted. So, yeah.
Validation. When I learned about my neurodivergency, some things just clicked, and I thought, so I am still quirky and weird, eccentric, poor, but some of the things I didn't get before now explained. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
It's interesting. One of my friends is big in neuroscience as well. She's a therapist in across the pond over in
England.
the Netherlands. And she gave me, because she has really bad ADHD, and I was talking to her about it, saying, I'm having issues with this and this and this. And I'll be doggone, she gave me a better rundown of what ADHD is, how it manifests in different people, than I have seen off of any website, bar none. It is just, so I
Do you
find
remember
it
what she said?
Oh, it is pretty voluminous. I need to transcribe it at some point, but it explained, because I like to say that ADHD is all the negative things I have, all the problems are from that, but all the good stuff is from me. And she's like, no, you can't have it that way. Some of your strengths are from ADHD, and a lot of your habits are from ADHD, like my over emoting all the time. That is very common with ADHD.
Okay.
I just thought it was
Oh.
just me, just being like Mark Bowden, where you're constantly throwing your arms around and slapping people, and maybe that's some hidden anger issues. I don't know. But yeah,
I would be curious to know what they say, because I had friends who, two of them, I should say. Both of them, like one of them, I'm like, yeah, I probably am ADHD, and one of them was like, yeah, duh, we've known that for years. And then one of my friends diagnosed, and she's like, you got the same symptoms I have. So there is a certain portion of that I've masked it and coped, and my brain no longer can do it. So I would be really curious to know what they say.
Yeah. Oh, y'all will probably be the first ones to hear besides Steve. So what do you guys think? We had a meeting.
I did want to say,
I've enjoyed listening and seeing all you guys' perspectives on this, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all for bringing that.
I think it's great that people have faith. I think it's just because I might not have it. I think it's great that other people do. And
it seems like that should be counted as some kind of level of faith. I don't know, somehow.
Yeah, but I just because I don't experience something doesn't mean I can't have joy that other people do. So
right on.
So I love that you've got faith, Tara, and everyone who has faith, Misha. It just gives me joy that other people find joy out of this sort of stuff. So
yeah.
I do have one more thing to say. I want to backtrack a little bit if I can on the oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something about my name, the Tara Smiling thing. So I almost changed that name when I started YouTube, because I was like, I'm about to start posting my mental health journey type of stuff and peer support, and it's not always a happy thing. It can be really hard to go through that process, but Tara Smiling is something that I created way before I got into recovery. And so I thought about getting rid of it and changing it to something else because of that whole toxic positivity thing that y'all were talking about. And I didn't want people to think that I'm just happy all the time, because that's definitely not the case. Y'all have seen me cry on this channel, as a matter of fact. So I'm not always smiling. But when
Right.
I told my Instagram audience, which is where I created the personal brand, I guess is what they call it, they said, don't change it. We love your name. Don't change it. And so I decided to stick with it across all the platforms. And I feel like it's actually come full circle, because now it's like I have gone through so much of a process to clean out as many cobwebs as I can find or have found.
Yeah.
And the goal is to be smiling. The goal is to live in as much joy and optimism and positivity as I possibly can, which
Yeah.
is way easier for me now that I'm in recovery. And
Yeah.
and also, like, recovery has given me the opportunity to tap into my faith in a way that I felt blocked off from when I was getting
Okay.
high and drinking.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I just wanted to share that, like, because I was like, well, I'm Tara Smiling. Am I toxic? And I mean, I think, I
Oh,
think,
you're not.
I think actually when I created it, though, I might have been kind of more focused on looking at the positive. It's like, okay, I just chopped my arm off, for example, but oh, everything's fine. Like, let's focus on the positive. Yeah, in the meanwhile,
it could be nominative determinism as well. Like, you know, you've given yourself a name that you want to be. So, Tara Smiling.
Right.
I think that's great. That's
Yeah.
nominative
I like it.
determinism.
Yeah,
It's like someone
it is
called
great.
Baker going out and being a baker.
right on. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very restful. I love going
Yeah.
to your show. It's just kind of, I made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's exactly the type of thing that I want for people, is to have it be a comfortable, restful place where they can get away from all the BS, but still be real and still talk about real stuff.
And
Yeah.
I know you got in trouble in high school. You may not have gotten caught, but I know you did some stuff in high school.
It's the case across the board. I've gotten away with more than I care to admit. You know,
You only get in trouble when you get caught.
That's right. Yeah. No comment.
Watch that bleak rate increase when I started to level that charge against her. Yep. Bing.
Well,
You know, even
go
if
ahead,
I don't have, love and God bless everyone, hope and pray you all find answers. You know, I'm mostly okay, you know, with not having all the answers, because there's no way that we really can have all the answers. You know, so you have to be okay with it to a certain degree. You know, I guess I'm just going to have to, maybe it's just a matter of grieving the way the faith manifested itself for me before. It's not going, maybe it just can't manifest the same way again, you know?
Yeah, and then you also have to realize those people do not have what do I want to say, a copyright, a ownership of all things, even Christianity. You know, they do not encompass everything. And I get it. I really do, though, because, that is a huge thing that I find myself tempted to think. So
Right on.
I'm searching, you know,
Right on. Yeah.
I don't think,
and maybe
I
that's
don't
the
think,
point of it, is the search, you know, the journey, so to speak.
yeah, I don't think I'm
Well,
quite
if
at
you're
the
not
level
learning,
you
you're not
are. But
living. So.
I do like, what's his name?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I do like deGrasse Tyson. There was one of the things that he said was, I don't want to get a tattoo because I'm not certain enough in anything. Now, I think that's a little far. I mean, I don't want to get a tattoo because I don't want to get a tattoo because I don't want to get a tattoo. But I do like at least the basis of, I like challenging what I believe in, I used to believe a lot of stuff that I found out it was wrong. You know, time is constant. No. Even the GPS satellites, being away from Earth's gravity, Earth is progressing time different than space is. Even the GPS satellites, they have to adjust for time dilation. So it's like, yeah, that's...
Time travel is real. You just have to go up and live on the
well, yeah,
International Space Station for a little bit.
they even found it on they put a cesium clock on a airline flight, and they flew it a lot, and it was milliseconds, but still it was slower than Earth time.
It's gravity.
Well, I need to
I just
go
wanted to say
and
that.
Good.
Sorry. Love you.
Good to see you, Rebecca. Thank
I just
you.
wanted to say that I can talk about my story now.
Okay. Oh, really?
I won't do it. I won't do it now, but yeah, I can
Okay.
now.
You can. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear all about it and how that came to be.
Yeah.
Will you be able to be on tomorrow?
Time. Yeah.
You think?
I can.
Okay. Or just whenever you can. I would love to. I'm looking forward to finding out all that stuff.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah, for real.
I would also like to know
to
the story behind all those little knickknacks on your desk, because I know that each one of them has a story to it as well.
Mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like your little fuzzy whatever that is over in the corner. You have a fuzzy something or another.
This is a ball. These are squishmallows. They're so soft. I got this. And I got another one that's a unicorn. And everything on here. This one here my daughter gave me years ago. So that's why I collect them now, because she gave me one. Yeah, everything means something. But it's so much. Except for this. This is just here because I'm lazy. I haven't put it away on the bench yet. There you go. Yeah.
I feel like I have so many questions, but I'm gonna hold. Like Spank says, please hold. I've got to tell my mind to please hold. I'll save my questions for another day. But
write them down so you don't lose them.
Yeah, I will. Write them down.
Okay.
I've been jotting some things down as I've been going. This has been a great meeting. You always host great meetings, Carol. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone here, and I will see you soon.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. See ya.
I'll also go because I don't know. It's always you and Ben at the end. I like the routine of things being the same. So I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Love you too, Cosmic.
Bye.
Bye.
Something tells me her story is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I can't wait to hear how it came to be that she got to released to tell it. So I'm looking forward to all of that.
Well, I do. I wish you peace and happiness on your journey.
And you as well.
And of course, this is coming. You know this is coming, but I'm obliged to. It's not like I have any choice. I hope the donkey's doing okay and
doing great.
Hope you can have a good chat with him.
Yeah. We've discovered that he likes chicken feed, so that's what I've been using to get him out of the barn.
Yeah, I had a dog that ate a bunch, and it wasn't. I don't know if it was chicken feed or I think it was guinea pig food, and it bloated up in her stomach. That thing looked like I don't know if you ever saw the Santa Claus with Tim Taylor or Tim the Toolman Taylor, whatever his name is. There's one scene where Comet ate all this candy and it's bloated and goes out to see Comet and he can't fly. He can't even get up. He tries to get up and he farts. Yeah, that was a good illustration of her. But I do hope you have a great day.
You too, Ben.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
This was a great discussion. I appreciate every perspective. I really do. Thank you so much for bringing your perspective and your wonderfulness. Thank you for being part of this wonderful community that, wouldn't be wonderful without you. I mean, you guys are who make this train run, just stay on the tracks. I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you again next meeting. And until then, live long and prosper, and peace, y'all.